Welcome to another amazing edition of the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. I'm your co-host, Keithan, and on the other side of this mic, of this daring, fearless show, is my esteemed colleague who has a lot to get off his chest. Some of you might have had a run-in with him on Twitter. My
Man,
guy, Sherrod, what do you have on your mind, my guy?
we just gonna jump right into it today, I guess, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna go straight into it. I want to get the fire out.
you know, and we talked about this during the week. I just gotta say this, and again, before I get started, this isn't directed at any one person. It isn't. Fuck. I'm not gonna apologize on my own fucking show, but I I need to address something. Now, obviously, I'm not big on social media for a reason. We've talked about that. But I think we're doing what we're doing, we're talking about wrestling. It's always good to get different perspective and views.
All right.
And as we talked about the yesterday, I mean, I fucking somehow managed to get into it with multiple people about, for lack of better words, I without sugarcoating it, getting into it about this Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I'll start from the beginning. So you know how I feel about Charlotte.
Yeah,
That
I definitely know.
when it comes to women's wrestlers, I think that Charlotte Flair is the best thing since Ric Flair. I've said that on numerous occasions. I think I've said it on episodes we've done, or whatnot, and I have my reasons for that. All right, but and again, during the course of this, I want you to stop me at any time and correct me. Have I not said that I also am a fan of Becky Lynch and other female wrestlers, and I also am a huge fan of the Four Horsewomen? Have I not?
Yeah, matter of fact, in one of our older episodes, I'm trying to think if that was episode 2 or 3. It might have been episode 3, where you said that you actually would not like to see Charlotte in the match at WrestleMania, that you like to just keep it Becky and Ronda.
Right, exactly. And I've been an advocate for that because I've said that it's only fair, seeing that she remade herself, that she had the main event. Have I not?
Correct. That is correct. That is a fact.
Okay. So, folks, getting down to it, apparently people took offense with me saying that I felt that Charlotte Flair, I'm indifferent to if the WWE decided to put Charlotte Flair in the main event with Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, or if they didn't. To me, there is no bad way. Either way, you come out a winner. If you put Charlotte in it, all the better. If you don't put Charlotte in it, all the better. I like it either way. Okay. Now, I had a very, very strenuous debate with my man at DJ Storms, which is okay because we had different perspectives. We agreed to disagree and we moved on.
Right.
I know him, he knows me. It's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think what really pushed me over the edge and pissed me off yesterday was there was this post. Okay, and again, I'm not calling names. I can't even fucking remember who the fuck it was, but there was this post, and it's a picture of the Four Horsewomen, right? And
Right.
it says, "Hey, of all the Four Horsewomen, who is your favorite?" All right, now that question is gonna be important for later on in this conversation that we're having.
Right.
So, I read the person's post and they were like it was Becky Lynch because of her drive and her this and that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, fuck, that's fine. I love the post. This is a good conversation to have. I like talking about wrestling. Why the fuck not? So I replied and I fucking said, hey, my favorite of the Four Horsewomen is Charlotte Flair because she has the pedigree and she's the closest thing to Ric Flair that you'll ever see in this life. And she's done more for women's wrestling as far as trailblazing and wrestling matches that we never fucking thought we'd see, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's my personal opinion, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So that people was proceeded from there to, and I think the fucking number might have been 3 or 4 people. People proceeded to berate me and tell me why I'm a fucking idiot because I decided that Charlotte Flair was the best of the 4 horsewomen. Never mind the fact that you fucking asked me what I thought, but because I didn't pick who you thought I should pick, because everybody else's answer was guess who? Becky Lynch, which, you know, that's fine. That's your personal opinion. But I'm finding out that I'm starting, and I've just stopped having the conversations at this point. I'm finding out that all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, that people think that it's if you're not picking Becky Lynch, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And people seems to have it in their mind that they know shit about the wrestling business if you spotted them a toilet and toilet paper, and that if you don't agree with them on this Becky Lynch thing, then you are just fucking not even, whatever you say is not credible. I've seen more fucking Becky Lynch posts and pictures and fucking reasons for why she should main event WrestleMania, comparisons to Stone Cold Steve Austin, which personally I think is disrespectful. I don't think there'll never be another fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I also don't think that there'll never be another person that did what Becky Lynch has done over the last year. But I ask people to be objective and say to yourself, okay, fuck. And again, you correct me if I'm fucking wrong at any point in time. I, on the course of this last year, as Becky Lynch has gotten hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, who has been the common denominator in this whole thing? The Ronda Rousey,
Charlotte. It's like I was
fucking
telling you the
exactly.
other day. I mean, and I'm gonna let you continue your rant, but really and truly, Becky's whole spill wouldn't have went as well if it wasn't for Charlotte. Charlotte was the only way that got over. It wasn't going to get over if she did it with somebody like uh Carmella or something. It wasn't going to get over the same way. The
If
whole
they had to
reason,
put her from, if they had to put her with Ronda Rousey from the start of WrestleMania, I'm sorry, post WrestleMania to now, you wouldn't be in the position you're in today. That's my honest opinion.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a real true stated fact because like I was saying, I said this on even last week's show. Uh, the whole plan was not for Becky. The plan was for Charlotte the whole time. Charlotte and Ronda. That's what they were building for. The time Ronda Rousey stepped out there on that stage for Royal Rumble, they said, "Okay, we're building up for Charlotte and Ronda. Eventually, it's gonna lead to Charlotte and Ronda.
Right.
Becky getting hot. That's just something that people wanted her to see. They wanted her to go heel on Charlotte.
And
Went heel on Charlotte.
I'm not taking away from Becky Lynch. I blame to a certain degree the fact that WWE didn't see in time enough and start making adjustments to compensate for the fact what Becky Lynch has done in the last 6 to 8 months has been phenomenal. She remade herself on the fly. Do you disagree?
No, don't disagree at all.
So, but all of a sudden, I'm pissed off about the fact that WWE has put Charlotte in a position where people are saying things about her like she's overhyped, she's overpushed. And again, I'm not talking about DJ Storms. Me and him had this conversation. I got where he was coming from. He's a content creator. I respect. One thing about creating content, you're always going to have a difference of opinion, but we can all agree to disagree because we do this on a level that isn't, oh, I watched a fucking show, so I know how to spell cat about the wrestling business if I spotted to see in the fucking A. We kind of can listen and make adjustments, you know?
Yeah.
But for some reason, these regular people, I, you cannot. if you notice every conversation that is going on, every topic about wrestling right now, if it's not AEW, which we'll dive, I'm gonna let us dive into here in a minute, but I gotta get this off my chest. If it's not that, it's this Charlotte and Becky and Ronda thing, and it's all when you can't even have a conversation with other people and say, hey, I like this particular person because, and it'd be like, hey, I respect that, but I like this particular person because it's almost to the point to where you're being bashed for not picking fucking Becky Lynch. Which, if the truth be told, and we're being fucking honest, half of these motherfuckers weren't even fans 10 months ago.
They really weren't. They
And
weren't paying attention to her.
and I know that this may not garner a lot of. I may piss some people off with this, but I just got to get this off my chest. It's fucking egregious to sit here and listen to people. And I know when I tweeted that about, hey, this is my pick, the person who's posted said to me, well, it sounds like you're just picking her because of who her dad is and what and stuff, and the fact that she's overbooked and overhyped by WWE. The fuck? No, I'm not. I'm picking her because you said, who do you prefer? Now, I said at the beginning of that, hey, I like all of them. And I still say that today. If you asked me to pick, I like all four of them. But if you said who I prefer, my personal fucking opinion as a fan, I pick Charlotte Flair. It's the same as if you ask me, do I like fucking Coke or Pepsi? I fucking like Pepsi. That's my fucking opinion.
Pepsi
Shit.
tastes fucking excellent.
Well, the point I'm making is I'm being asinine, but the point I'm making is there is no right or wrong answer when it's my personal choice. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it makes all the sense in the world.
Okay, so I'm saying that to say, fuck, when you ask me who do I like, all of a sudden it's like you're taking a wrestling fucking litmus test. Hey, who do you like, Becky or Charlotte? You better say Becky or you're going to be buried on fucking Twitter or any other fucking wrestling outlet. But if you say Charlotte, which you may have an educated reasoning for, if you said Charlotte, people would look at you like you fucking said that Vince Russo has done more for the fucking wrestling business than anybody else at any time. It's almost like a Russo conversation right this second. That I
We don't need that. We do not need
right.
that.
Yeah, and again, I don't know much about Vince Russo other than WCW. That's well before me and you got into doing what we were doing, but I'm just using that as an example. But the point I'm making here is there are people who make legitimate cases for you, Charlotte Flair, and why she should not be a WrestleMania main eventer. And people are saying, well, you're saying Charlotte is a trailblazer, but Becky's the one that caused us to even be talking about a women's main event at WrestleMania. I totally disagree. I think it's a combination of both parties. I think the four horsewomen as a whole are trailblazers. But when you look at it, Charlotte, to me, Charlotte started. If you want to talk about it, everybody that is somebody in women's wrestling right this second has had some type of rub or interaction with Charlotte. And to say she's a Roman Reigns of women's wrestling is fucking egregious. It's disrespectful. I think that she's become the bad guy almost overnight because I could guarantee you 12 to 15 months, maybe 2 years ago, nobody had this kind of thing to say about her. They're saying it today because it's the fucking popular thing to say. Again, stop me anywhere and tell me if I'm wrong.
I think the whole thing with the whole Roman Reigns comparison, I didn't like that. But I think you can't blame somebody for a push that other people give them. You can't blame her for her push. I mean, when she gets pushed, she delivers. We all seen that. She delivers classic fucking matches. Every WrestleMania she's been in, has she not have like the top 3 best matches on the card, if not the best?
Well, let's just go through the last 12 months of work. The match with Asuka at WrestleMania was by
Best
far the
match of the
best
night.
match on that card. Was it not?
Yep, best match of the night. That was the
Okay,
best match of the night.
the triple threat with Carmella and Becky that kicked off the feud between her and Becky Lynch because remember Becky was even during that time, they were starting to build into a storyline between her and Charlotte. That Becky still wasn't the man right at that point. That was summertime.
Yeah.
Disagree. Okay, well, after that, and they went into that storyline, the last woman standing match. That was by far one of the best matches you've seen that year. That wasn't an NXT match. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Who was in that fucking match with Becky
Charlotte and
Lynch?
Becky.
Thank you. Do I need the Survivor Series when Becky couldn't go because fucking Nia Jax punched her in the face? You got a great fucking match from Ronda and Charlotte, which at that point I think WWE at that second did the right thing. They didn't want to lose that match at that point in time because they weren't ready for her to quite take a loss, but they also didn't want Charlotte to lose, so it ended in a no contest. That was a great fucking match at Survivor Series, was it not?
It was a great match. Excellent match.
So you can't sit here and tell me she's overhyped and overpushed. And to your point, like I told them, hey, fuck, it's not her fault that they're using her in that way. It's not. She actually cares. And the thing about it is, anybody you put her against, she gets them over. She has never phoned in a match that I've seen.
Well,
Never phoned
that's
in
the
a
whole
match.
point. She got Becky over. Becky wouldn't be the man without Charlotte. I
Don't
mean,
don't don't let people hear you say that because they would
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
burn you. They would burn you at the stake for saying what the
But
fuck you
see
just said.
that's the same people that don't even remember that Becky is the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, and that it took her like a year and a half to even capture it again. That they had her in bullshit storylines. They had her
She
getting
was on the
attacked by the
fucking pre-show.
yeah. They had her getting attacked by the Riot Squad, and they put her out for like 2 weeks. Most
Uh,
people don't even remember that. All the
uh,
shitty shit they were giving
uh,
her.
Again, I love the wrestling community. I like talking wrestling on Twitter, but I think at this stage it has fucking gotten out of hand. You can't. I've gotten to the point now to where I won't even answer a Becky Lynch and Charlotte question. I refuse to. If you ask me on Twitter, that I'm not answering the question because no matter what I say, it's going to be wrong. I start a conversation off with most people saying I like both, but and even though I just said I like both, but I think you've heard, I think that Charlotte's better than Becky. But I know I've said several times, if you ask me, Charlotte and Becky are 1A and 1B in the women's wrestling division on the WWE promotion. Have I not said that?
That's true, and in my opinion, this is just my opinion. This is not Sherrod's opinion. You gotta give the edge to Charlotte. Just saying. Just saying. You gotta give the edge to Charlotte.
By far, okay, yes, Becky's hot today, but
Yes.
can she? What 12 months from now will I be having the same fucking conversation about Becky Lynch? We do not know.
Yeah.
Things happen. Injuries
Can she
happen.
sustain that? Because she can.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Fucking
Because she can run a
storylines
good
get
program.
stale. Yeah.
She can run a good program because Charlotte can be a good heel. She can be a good baby face. She can actually. She's better at being a heel than she is a baby face to me, in my opinion. She's a better heel, as was her
Who?
dad,
Charlotte?
Charlotte.
No,
Charlotte.
I
Yeah.
don't disagree. She's doing some of her, and that's crazy. She's being booed and talked about, and I'm seeing people on Twitter just tell her all kinds of shit. Somebody actually said to her on Twitter that she's getting over off of her dad's name. What kind of fucking shit?
And it's not that. It's pure skill. Only thing they're doing because of her dad is probably trying to give her a title run similar to his. They might
But
have her
again,
capture the women's championship like
that
16 times.
that's the closest thing you'll see to Ric Flair of all the people they've ever compared to Ric Flair. It's not ironic and out of the ordinary that the closest thing and the most similar to him is his daughter. Everything about her says Ric Flair, from how she gets people over, whether she's champion or not, how she puts on match after match after match. You can
Promos.
put it. promos, whether they heel promos or face promos, fucking big matches. It doesn't matter. You can put anybody in that division in the ring with her at any time on any show, and it's already big because it's her.
I've seen
That
it happen.
was
I've seen her
that,
put up a good program with multiple people. I haven't seen that from Becky. I have
and
not seen that from Becky.
we want to talk about the four horsewomen. All three of them have gotten have been big at one point in time from working with Charlotte. People forget at one point Becky Lynch was Sasha Banks, and what I mean by that is, do you remember that intense rivalry that her and Charlotte had when they did the first Hell in a Cell match for women? And all the back and forth they had where the belt kept changing hands and the great matches and shit.
Yeah.
That's when it was starting to take off. That
Yep.
it was Sasha Banks at one point. She's worked with Bailey. All of them have worked with her in some capacity, and they have been Charlotte. When you get to Charlotte Flair, you are, for lack of better words, not so much a made man, but a made woman. You being made at that point, and she can get you. You can't even say that for the men. How many men do you have can do what she does for her division?
Not a lot.
I don't know. I don't know of a whole lot. I don't know of a whole lot. And the ones that are willing to do this kind of stuff,
Aren't
they
getting the
don't even.
opportunity.
They aren't getting the opportunity. Exactly. And so for people to say, "Oh well, if she wasn't Ric Flair's daughter, she went." That again, fuck. I don't know who told people that they just have insight, but I think now at this stage in the game, folks are going with what's popular. It's popular for you to like Becky Lynch because she's hot, and that's fine. But I ask people this: when Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was hot not just for 6 to 8 months, but for at least, I would say, a stretch of 2 to 4 years, where he was just the biggest thing going. But at the same time, there was The Rock. What did people criticize folks for picking The Rock over Stone Cold or vice versa?
They couldn't, because they worked hand in hand, and that's why I don't
There is
understand why they don't treat this Becky and Charlotte thing the same way.
there really isn't a wrong fucking choice.
Right.
There isn't a wrong choice. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you came to me and said, "Well, I don't like Becky Lynch, I like Nia Jax," and I'm using the most extreme case here, so please bear with me. If you said that, I'd be like, "You're a fucking idiot." I understand now why people, but when you're talking about two people that are on the same level and equally talented and are doing big things, I there is no right or wrong choice here. And when you ask me my opinion and I give it to you, and shit, and I think that's what really surprises me the most. Folks are putting this shit up and asking, "Hey, do you think that Charlotte should be in the WrestleMania main event, or do you think that Becky is better than Charlotte, or do you think?" Okay, fine. I know people like to root for an underdog. I get it. And a lot of things you're saying, well, Becky made herself, and she pulled herself up from nothing, and she was on the pre-show. She had to scrap to get where she got to. That Charlotte didn't have to do that. Again, I ask you, is that really Charlotte Flair's fault? Are we willing to take and criticize a great talent because of the way she has been booked?
But
Something she probably has no fucking control over.
that's right. That's right. Really and truly, they should just be happy for all of them. I mean, Becky is a great talent. She's a great talent. Nobody's taking anything away from her. So they can't get mad if you say, "Well, Charlotte is really the reason why everything is happening." I mean, that don't take anything from Becky. It's great to have Becky do what she do. It's great to see what she's doing. I wouldn't exactly call it Stone Cold Steve Austin like, because Stone Cold was way more. How should I say? He was more of a I don't give a damn. You know,
Well, I think this whole McMahon Becky angle is what's pushing people
it's
internet
atrocious though.
and,
I don't
and,
like
and
it.
And I'm gonna be I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pissed off about that because every year it seems like Stephanie McMahon or Triple H or a combination of they force themselves into the WrestleMania picture in some shape, form, or fashion. And right now, and I think it speaks more to the WWE's lack of creativity and knowing what to do with certain situations than it does anything else, by the fact that they're trying to basically recreate Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. And I tweeted this on last week or this week. I mean, Vince knew that the entire time he was doing what he was doing with Steve Austin, he was helping to propel Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, into an even bigger height. He gave him a platform by which to make himself. And Stone Cold Steve Austin's character or persona during that time period where he was just white hot, the biggest star, probably the biggest star this business had ever seen, it felt more organic. It felt like himself. I feel to a certain degree right now, this Becky Lynch and the McMahon thing feels, and I know we may catch a lot of heat for saying this, but this is my fucking show, and yours, and we can say whatever the fuck we want,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's forced. I feel like it's fucking forced. I think I like the man persona because they came from Becky, but they're trying to turn that into what Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon was. It's not
Yeah.
going to
It's not
fucking
the
work.
same.
It's
Main
not the
reason it's
same.
not going to be the same is because you have social media now. You have social media now. Back then, it was more believable. It was people still believing that wrestling was real. So that's what made the Stone Cold and Vince McMahon thing work so well because people was like, oh, they really hate each other. This one, they're just like, oh, the McMahons are injecting themselves just to get ahead or just to say that they had something to do with the man phenomenon. And that's just not it. It's not gonna go over as well because people know that it's just all a part of a storyline.
Well,
Whereas with
rumor
Stone
has
Cold,
it. Go ahead.
rumor
I'm
has
sorry.
what? You said
Rumor
it's a
has it
rumor?
that rumor has it, and I read this week. Rumor has it that after WrestleMania 35, there's supposed to be a continuing storyline between Becky Lynch and Stephanie McMahon.
I don't want that though. Like why
I
why would
don't either.
Stephanie McMahon get
I
her
don't
late
either.
40s ass in the ring again? Like
Well, and the
goddamn, stay
thing
behind the
is,
scenes.
when she gets in there, she fucking looks like she can hold her own against professional wrestling women. You recall in WrestleMania last year and doing that whole little build up between Ronda Rousey and her and Triple H with Kurt Angle involved, she was stopping Rousey's fucking armbar at certain points in times. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Ronda Rousey has put that armbar on more capable people over the last fucking year,
Stronger people too.
and it's been almost a protected finish. But you have Stephanie McMahon, who has little to no athletic ability, who's supposed to be the management figure for WWE in the ring, holding her own against a person that you're trying to push as this monster over, like unstoppable, baddest woman on the planet type persona. It's almost the same as Vince McMahon coming out and power bombing Brock Lesnar. To me,
Yeah,
that's how I feel. You
it's
know,
ridiculous.
right? You shouldn't be out there with the fucking talent, but for some reason that's what they do every year. And again, with Triple H, I would be a little more understanding depending on the circumstances because he's done this before. I can believe Triple H can go out there and hold his own with Brock, because he's beat him before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean Triple H's angle with her on SmackDown went better than Stephanie's on Raw.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But even that feels fucking forced.
Yeah,
I that it doesn't feel organic. The biggest thing that I've always heard and that I think we both can agree on is Stone Cold Steve Austin during that time period when he was doing the beer drinking and driving the shit to the ring and and raising hell and all of that shit. That was how he actually seems.
yeah,
You even talk to
that's
him
him.
today, he still seems that's him. That's him. But again, like you were saying, you were in an era where there was no social media. there was kayfabe to a certain degree and all of this shit. But you'll see this persona of Becky on TV, but then you see a different person
Nice as
off
shit.
of it.
Out. Yeah. Her and
Right.
Charlotte are best friends.
Best
All four of them
friends.
best friends.
Exactly. And I think that for me, I'm old school, man. I mean, I have to fit Brock Lesnar for all the fucking venom and shit we spit about him and how he is. Brock is Brock. It's the same guy.
Yeah,
There's no
asshole on
difference
TV,
between them.
asshole in real life.
Asshole in person. He don't say much in person, don't say much on TV. He's a badass in person, badass on TV. He will legitimately snap your neck if he could. Samoa Joe, I feel the same way. This is the same guy no matter what. But they're trying to push something. And I love the fact that fans are so passionate about women's wrestling in general. I love that. I think it's past time. I'm excited about the fact we've been talking about main event Wrestlemania. But when you tell me that I can't have a choice on what I want to fucking see, that's when it becomes an issue. That's the problem with this country today. You got to agree with what I say or you're just wrong. There is no in between. And again, if you got a problem with anything that I'm saying, because what I'm saying here is I believe that Charlotte Flair, because she is my favorite wrestler, is fucking great. If you have a problem with that, I would like for you to submit your fucking suggestions and comments to fuckoff.com. Because I don't care. That's what you can do. Again, it's my opinion. It's my fucking show. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. But the least you can do is say, hey, I don't see it that way, but I respect it. But if you don't, then kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck.
Golly, these motherfuckers that took you into full goddamn Jim Cornette mode.
No, I'm just sick of it. It's like, goddamn, yeah, what the fuck? I can't, like, I literally was chastised by someone who asked me my fucking opinion. It
Yeah.
said, who do you like? Who do you like? It was like, there was one that was like, what order would you place the four horsewomen in? For me, I would say Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, Bailey. But that's me. You
And
might
there's no
say,
wrong answer for that, if you ask me.
there
Really,
is
true.
no wrong
There's
answer.
no wrong
I
answer.
might ask you, and you might tell me Sasha Banks, Becky
Yeah.
Lynch, Charlotte, Bailey. I'm not gonna say, "Damn, I can't believe Charlotte's third." I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
"Well, fuck,
You
that's
can make a
different."
good case either way, because you be like, well, I like Sasha and Bailey at 1 and 2 because they had a match of the year a couple years back at Takeover. It's I mean, there's no wrong answer there. People just
No,
gotta get the
yeah.
sand out their vaginas. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
well, again, all of a sudden, since this whole Becky Lynch thing, people think that they know shit about the wrestling business and wouldn't know shit if you spotted them a toilet and some fucking toilet paper. You don't fucking know. It's my personal fucking opinion. And for me to have, I just don't even want to deal with the conversation no more. I'm almost to the point that where I want to fucking go and I just want WrestleMania to be over. Let's move past this so we can fucking get back to having normal, healthy conversations about wrestling. You have people ready to get into Twitter fights with you over this particular subject. And
Right.
again, you can't make me say what you want me to fucking say. You can't make me, because she's popular today. I'm not gonna jump on that bandwagon. My
Yeah.
person, my
I mean,
preferential favorite is
they're
Charlotte.
using her to sell a lot of merchandise right now. They just gave her 5 new shirts, so
I
they
know.
they're capitalizing off the merchandise, definitely. But will they? It's a part of this is booking too. It's all of
Yeah.
this is not on Becky. We know she can deliver a great match. We know she can deliver a hell of a promo. But a lot of this comes from the booking. They got to book her with the right people. After this whole Charlotte and Ronda thing is done, what's gonna happen?
What's
Who
gonna
are they
happen?
gonna book her? Who are
Yep,
they gonna
I
book
don't
against them?
disagree. I
That
don't
alone
disagree.
could take down this whole man empire. It's all about how they book her. if
Remember
they
how
put her in the right
Daniel
matches.
Bryan was white hot at that one point in
Yeah,
time where they had no fucking choice.
yeah,
Like people were chanting his name and taking over shows and shit like that. They had no fucking choice. And then after he won the title, what the fuck happened?
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't they don't book ahead of time. They book to the next pay-per-view. That's always been how it's been. They don't book ahead of time. They're not good at booking. And now they did during the Attitude Era. Some pay-per-views will segue into another pay-per-view. You might not get the right finish then, but you're gonna get something that's gonna carry you through the next month or so. They don't do that anymore. They don't. Because if they had been booking ahead of time and planning this shit, they would have saw back in September, October, before Survivor Series, hey, Becky's hotter right now. Let's go ahead and start pushing this forward. And they didn't really seem like they were taking off with this till Survivor Series. And even then, I think that, and I can't believe I'm about to say it this way, I'm not saying it in a derogatory way or a negative way, but if Becky hadn't got punched in the face by Nia Jax, would we be having this conversation today?
You know what? To piggyback off that, I'm glad you said that because it kind of go back to what I was saying about booking. After Becky got over as the man and she got punched in the face. Now remember, her and Charlotte had the brawls. So you remember how great they brawls were. The brawls at the performance center, the brawls,
All of
during the
that was
show
built up.
where
Yeah.
where Becky pretended to be a fan in the crowd, then attacked Charlotte. Even after that, she gets injured by Nia Jax, and they have her and Charlotte hug in the ring, like everything's cool now. They're friends. Go take my spot. For me, that's the problem right there. The inconsistency. If you have
Yeah.
a rivalry with fire like that, you got to keep going. You got to keep it going with that. You got to say, okay, Charlotte, you take my spot. Because if you win, I know I could beat your ass. Say or something like that. Don't make it all friendly and shit. So it's just
Right. And the whole
inconsistency
I
in
fought
booking.
with Becky, I fought against Becky, and at Survivor Series, I'm going to fight for Becky. She got a huge pop off of that. People loved her in that moment because they hated the fact that Becky couldn't go. And she got huge off of it, and people were excited. And then the ended to that match against Rousey, people were happy about that. And then as soon as that was over, they went right back to fucking going at each other.
Yeah, truly. That's real. That's truthful.
If you want my opinion, this is what I'll say, and this is nothing that's inconsistent with what I've been saying. Charlotte and Becky need to be fucking separate because this wouldn't be happening if one was on Raw and the other was on fucking SmackDown. If they moved Becky to full-time Raw because she's so over and left Charlotte on SmackDown or whatnot, I don't think you would have this problem. Nobody would have shit to fucking say. They need to
Plus,
separate them.
plus Raw needs it. Raw
Yeah,
absolutely needs it.
they do.
They can use her, and they're desperate for someone like her because their women's division is shit. Like I would love to see Becky in the rivalry with somebody like Nikki Cross. I think that would go well.
Yep, Alexa
Something
Bliss.
or
She,
Natty,
yeah,
that would be great too. Get Natty a
yeah.
good program since you never give her any kind of good programs. Give Natty something. Her and Becky can really, man. I'm telling you, the possibilities with her and Becky, she
Because
can
I
she can
think,
take Becky to the next level.
and again, I think this is the problem with being wrestling fans today. That there's no thinking past this moment because I got to be honest with you. I don't think Ronda can stay hot and
Nope.
Becky in turn for another 12 to 24 months. You
Right.
asking somebody to keep this up for 2 to 3 years, and there isn't enough talent as far as say she ends up on Raw. Do you have see when Stone Cold Steve Austin was on this rise and he was the guy? There was Shawn Michaels, there was Bret Hart, there was The Rock, who was almost just as good as he was. There was
Yep.
Triple H, there was The Undertaker, there was Kane. There was Mankind / Dude Love / Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call him. There were so many interchangeable parts and so many people who were just as good as he was in those moments and times, or that worked well with him. There was talent, legitimate talent that carried this on. You could have a feud for 6, 8, 12, 15, 18 months
And then I
and
get stale.
it not get stale because hell, if Stone Cold Steve Austin beat The Undertaker for the title, the next night on Raw, you got 3 guys out there vying for the next fight, and all of them are top guys in Triple H, The Rock, and fucking, Kane or whoever the
Yeah.
fuck. Yeah, yeah. Can you do this with Ronda and Becky? Because apparently all of a sudden people are saying Ronda Rousey's more of a draw, and she's one of the biggest reasons, along with Becky Lynch, that we even talking about a women's main event at WrestleMania, this Charlotte Flair. I think that's the stupidest shit I've
I
ever
think that's
fucking heard.
complete bullshit. I think that's complete
I
bullshit.
think that's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking
They
heard.
were clearly on the track to have a women's main event before Ronda Rousey even got there. Just with this crop of women they have.
Now, I will say this: by Ronda Rousey being there and being a big presence because of her traction and or whatnot, as far as being the baddest woman on the planet, etc. Yes, that has propelled it to the forefront. But I think it's a safe bet to say this was gonna happen fucking eventually, because it was getting damn near impossible to ignore how good the women's division, how much better the women's division is than the fucking men in WWE.
Right.
I think it was getting hard to ignore that. So this was gonna happen. It may not have been this year, but at some point, very quickly, very soon, it was gonna happen. And it might not have necessarily been Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair or Asuka, who are probably, to me, 1, 2, and 3 in whatever order you want to pick in women's wrestling. I think Ronda Rousey is great. I think she's taken to wrestling like a fish in the water. But I don't think that for her to have only done 10 to 11 months worth of work and be a bigger draw than Charlotte, I think is bullshit. I think it's for her to be a bigger draw than Asuka. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah. No.
Bullshit. It's egregious.
I mean, even okay. All right. I've been holding this in, but all day, ever since I saw this a few hours ago, I've been pissed off. Why the fuck? Speaking of Ronda Rousey, why the fuck? Why in the top of the fuck am I gonna be watching Elimination Chamber and seeing fucking Ronda Rousey go against Ruby Riott for the goddamn women's championship? Why?
I think it's a safe pick. They're trying to protect the main event. I don't know why they didn't. They could have used somebody else.
They
I
could have
don't
used
know.
somebody, even though Ruby Riott, she's good. She's good in the ring. I'm not gonna take anything from her.
Alexa
Exactly.
Bliss is
Alexa
back.
Bliss
They
would have
could
been
have used
better.
her. I know
Alexa
they've
Bliss would have
worked
been
that
better.
before. But god damn it, that would have still kept her. I don't know.
Or
And me,
they could have turned Natalia. They could have turned Natalia real quick, had her be a heel, gave Ronda a good.
I'm gonna tell you who should have got a run and who should have got a chance. They should have pushed Bayley for this.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, Bayley is not getting enough traction, and since the Rumble, she is like she's been a lot more aggressive. The fact that I guess you couldn't push her because she's in that fucking tag tournament. So I understand that I guess you can't do that. But fuck, I mean, did you see her win a match by herself this past week?
No, matter of fact, she lost to Rousey.
No, this past week she won that tag match with against Alicia Fox and Nikki
Oh
Cross,
yeah,
and
that was this
they
past week. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. See, and Bailey is one of them people that they don't have faith in. That's one that it's been reported that they definitely don't have faith in Bailey. That they just don't want her. Um, they don't want her to be at the top of the division, which I don't see why.
Yeah, she fucking saved Ronda Rousey from making herself look stupid 2 weeks ago. That ought to count for something.
Yeah.
But
Oh man,
Alexa
she
Bliss
had to
would have
really
been
save her.
Alexa Bliss is a big name. She could have carried a match, and I don't know how if they fucking pull a squash match at Elimination Chamber. I'm gonna be honest. I can see them doing this because they're trying to protect everybody from being hurt. They're scared of the injuries right now because Sasha Banks supposedly was hurt, but she's supposed to be cleared before Elimination Chamber. And then of course you got Rollins, and of course I get where they're going, but I also don't. I don't know, man. I seen that too, and I just was like, man. But it's kind of been like that the whole year, other than Alexa Bliss and fucking Charlotte at Survivor Series, and this thing with Becky Lynch that's been ongoing. Ronda Rousey hasn't really had anybody that she's just and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks did a great fucking job at Rumble. She did a great job to build up she did a great fucking job. But other than
As
them
always.
other than them 4 or 5 people that I just called, the Nia Jax thing was a joke. It shouldn't have happened, but it happened. I'm fine. Whatever. I don't. Yeah. Again, I'm just tired of defending this. It's tiresome. And when you have to stop answering questions because you don't want people it's like saying, well, fuck, you like chocolate, I like vanilla. Hey, I don't want that chocolate anywhere near me. That's your chocolate. You like it? That's fine. I like vanilla. It's mine.
Yeah.
I like that. That's fine. That should be how it is. I shouldn't have to sit here and, if you don't say Becky Lynch, then you clearly don't know anything about wrestling because she's the greatest talent that has come out. That's your opinion. I respect your opinion. All I ask is that you respect mine. If you can't do that, then fuck off. Yeah, that's just me. And fuck. There's no right or wrong answer to this. It's wrestling. Even during the 80s, Ric Flair was the hottest wrestler in the world. But at the same time, there were other people that was like, well, fuck no, Hulk Hogan is the best wrestler in the world. There wasn't a right or wrong answer. It was healthy debate. It made wrestling relevant. That's all we doing.
Yeah,
Jesus
true.
Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, you don't see Charlotte punching out the McMahons. It's fucking, it's irrelevant. She's done other shit. It's fucking irrelevant. She cannot help how she's booked, or if they choose to. Hell, if you a top guy and they want to or top woman and they want to put the belt on you 16 to 20 times, I mean, so apparently apparently it's a sin when you constantly win. That's what I'm taking from this. So if you're Ric Flair or John Cena or fucking, I guess for that matter, Hulk Hogan or Charlotte Flair, anybody that's got real talent that they can put the belt on and take it off of at any point in time, you're overhyped, overpushed, you're not that great.
And people gonna get pissed at you.
Right. Maybe that's the going thing today.
I mean, that's kind of the thing with Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman Reigns, he's not a bad performer. It's just his booking is shoved down your throat. Now, I think that's why people were sitting there and be like, you know what? I can't stand this guy being shoved down my throat.
But again, we're putting the blame on the wrong people. It's not Roman's fault. It's not Charlotte's fault. It's not Brock. Well, it's not Brock's fault. You know how we feel about that.
Yeah, motherfucker.
But at the same time, you need to take that up with WWE. and like I said, okay, so if they put Charlotte Flair in the main event of WrestleMania, which again, I wouldn't like it any more than the next person. I wouldn't. I think that Becky earned this and it's her time to shine. I wouldn't like it any more than the next person, but I wouldn't be pissed about it either.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I gonna do? Stop watching wrestling because I didn't like what the fuck I saw? No. Goddamn. I mean, fuck. Oh, now that I got that off my chest,
exercise that demon.
I hope so. I mean, I'm sure after people listen to this shit, there'll be more things said about it and everything. But I'm just tired of seeing it. It's almost to the point. There was a guy, I don't remember his fucking name. He was on a Bubba Ray's show, and he said he's so sick of this shit that he's to the point to where he wants to root for Ronda Rousey to win at Mania so that people would come back to their senses. It's like folks have lost all sense.
Yeah.
And you know they crucified him for that shit, don't you?
Yeah, they crucify everybody for it. But it's just like you just gotta have the mentality of like I don't give a fuck. Kind of like you were saying, I don't give a fuck what you think. It's my
No,
opinion. God damn it.
yeah, this is my fucking show. It's my opinion. And again, like I said, if you don't like what I said or you want to comment, please submit all suggestions and comments to fuck you at fuckoff.com because I don't give a fuck. It's what I feel. I've said that from day one. When you get to talking to me about who my favorite women's wrestler is, Charlotte Flair will always be number one. It doesn't mean I don't like Becky or Sasha Banks or Alexa Bliss or Bianca Belair or whoever any more, any less. But I'll always start my list off with Charlotte Flair. Just like
Yeah.
when you talk about men, some people will always start their list off with Stone Cold Steve Austin. It doesn't mean that The Rock was any bad, any worse for wear. It just means that's who they like. Me personally, I'm a Rock person. It's not, The Rock is one, Stone Cold Steve Austin is two for me. I like both of them equally. They both
Hmm.
came out. I jumped up, screamed, and almost tore the roof off my house. But it
Yep.
don't mean that I didn't like one more than the other. It just means my preference was The Rock. That's what I liked. Fuck off.
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to get into that because we plan on doing a review of WrestleMania 17 down the line.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
First,
excited
we got
about that.
WrestleMania 14 coming up that we're
That
gonna
was
review.
uh,
Then
yeah,
17.
yeah, that yeah. I'm excited about that. We'll be doing WrestleManias probably with some frequency up until Mania. But speaking of, man, let's transition into what we was initially talking about, which is AEW and Double or
Yeah,
Nothing.
the confirmed
Did you?
matches so far.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think, man?
The press conference or the match
The
card so
whole
far?
the whole thing.
I thought the press conference was cool. It was cool. It definitely gave us answers to certain things. With who we could be expecting, what we could be expecting. They followed through with things that were teased at the first press conference, like Hangman Page and Pac versus each other. We felt like that was gonna happen. They confirmed that. That's gonna be a good one.
I've never seen an event promoted like that. That was
Yeah,
different. And I tweeted last night while it was going on, like you're seeing wrestling change right before because they literally it was different. Everything about that was fresh. I
yeah,
liked it.
yeah. I think I texted you that too. I was like, this is historic.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I remember, and I liked it. It almost was like it kind of put me in the mind of how Eric Bischoff doing WCW was doing things so out of the norm that people were like, "Fuck, this is different." Like, wait a minute, let me watch. I got the feel from that. It was definitely something that you wouldn't see WWE doing. It was
No,
definitely different. What did you think about the talent that they had yesterday? Obviously, the biggest thing is Kenny Omega, and we'll get to him here
of
in
course.
a second. But I mean, outside of him, what did you think about the? I know you were excited about the OEW thing, and the AAA thing kind of excited me a little bit. But what overall, just all of the talent that they brought out, what were you thinking?
Well, I didn't expect for the Lucha Brothers to go straight for the Young Bucks. I like that. I like that because they coming in, they getting a big high profile match. And even though, like you were saying, you like to see Pentagon by himself
I
because he's a
would.
great talent all alone, I mean, that actually might end up happening because I think his partner Ray Phoenix, he just got injured
I
like a
seen that. I
few
didn't know
hours
if that
ago.
was like, yeah, his brother was. That's actually, I just seen that right before we did this, and I was like, was that like now or is it, and what
Yeah,
is that
like
gonna
that.
mean for? Well, you got to remember though, Double or Nothing is at least 3 months away, 3 months
Yeah.
or more. So you don't know how extensive it is, but I
It
was
seemed like
really,
his neck was. It seemed like his neck was bothering him or something.
yeah, I was really excited yesterday seeing them and how that all transpired, the fight on the stage and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, that
good
was kind of
spots.
awesome. Yeah,
I
it
know,
was.
like you do it. You did that on that small ass stage.
Yeah, the power driver, one of the bucks on there made me.
Yes,
I went nuts for that
I
shit.
was like, oh shit, he just did that.
Yeah,
But
that
we
was a
definitely
good
gotta
deal.
talk about this though. We gotta talk about this. The new women that were introduced, and one in particular that kind of stirred up some stuff on the internet. Nyla Rose, the one people are calling her a trans wrestler, but I don't think anyone really knows for sure.
I didn't get that vibe. I'm gonna be honest. The women talent they brought in was definitely different. But I mean, I think it was you that said there wasn't. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of women out there right now that they could have brought in that WWE does not have. As far as well-known names, I would have liked to see them bring in Tessa Blanchard. I'm high on her, just like
It's still a
I'm high
chance.
on Charlotte. I think I think she's really good. I would have liked to see her, but I didn't see her last night and stuff. But I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not scared to say it, and folks. You can talk about me if you want to. Don't give a fuck. I didn't know who most of them were. So all of this is foreign to me. I just was kind of taking it in, like, okay, this is different.
Yeah,
Okay, this is different. Like
I
I,
know who
I didn't
one
have an
is.
opinion.
Yeah, I know who one is, and that's Kylie Ray. I know her.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with her, but everybody else, I was like, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been watching Kylie Ray for the past couple of years in Booker T's promotion down here in Houston. Reality of wrestling. She's been wrestling down here actually for 3 years. She's been good. She's been great.
that's what I was. I've
Multi-time
heard she's
champion.
really good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard
put
she's
on some
real
great
good.
matches. Great matches. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure they're trying to be innovative and do different things, and you're in a time period now where, you know, you're gonna see things that are acceptable. Yeah, so I don't really have an opinion on it because again, I don't know who these people are. I'm not gonna say, oh, they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do
yeah.
that.
Really don't know what they
I
could
don't I
do.
don't have an right. I don't have an opinion, and I think people that are. I know there's someone on Twitter that's catching a lot of heat because of some things and comments that she made or whatnot in regards to what they were trying to do. But again, I don't really know them. Most people don't really know them, and that's one of the things that I like is they're actually going out scouring for talent. They're not just going for the big fish. They want to legitimately try to use people that nobody's heard of that are stars where they come from. This guy in
Yeah.
Triple H. I'm not really familiar with him. But he's supposed to be pretty good. The best
Oh yeah,
friends
the
are you
that guy Sammy Guevara from Triple H. That's
Guevara.
who you
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm liking that because it's not like they're not making the same mistake WCW made and shit where let's just get or even
Already
to a degree
made people.
you're right, even to a degree WWE did the same thing when WCW went out of business. Let's get the made people
Yeah.
and put them on yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing, hey, these are people that nobody would touch, you
Mhm.
know, or that nobody knows about, and that could end up being a big deal because
Yeah.
there are a lot of the wrestling community as a whole, as far as performance and talent and promotions, is so vast now. You got a lot of indie wrestlers that nobody really sees unless it's local or regional. They have a stage, and when they get on it, you're like, well, fuck, I didn't know who this guy was before, but I know who he is now because they're so good. I know All In was a prime example of it. There were several people in there that I was like, who the fuck is this? But by the
Yeah.
time the match was over, I was like, God damn, like fuck,
Let me
I
search them up
like
on
this
YouTube.
person. Exactly. Yeah. So I like that. I did like that or whatever.
Yeah,
But in
and then
regards to the women,
you can't bring a lot of stars all in at once because then how you gonna get them over? You gotta
yeah,
let people build up and stuff.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
make some superstars. So yeah, I like that
I like
aspect.
that. Yeah, that. So in regards to the women's thing, it's like, hey, I'm gonna take a wait and see approach. I don't have an opinion one way or the other because I don't know them. I think it's different. Again, I'd like to see. I feel like they need a couple big names in that women's division to make it. But if they can find a way to get a few people or whatnot of notoriety, I think that they'll be fine. But again, you gotta wait and see. This promotion is still in its infancy, man, and I think
Yeah.
people they're gonna have to understand that. Like I was saying last night to somebody, at the same time that this is going on, yesterday WWE releases an earnings report. They made almost $2 billion last year. AEW is not gonna do that in a year.
No.
If you thinking they are, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
It's gonna take them a few years before they can. I think they need to play it low, play it slow,
Yeah.
and stuff. It's gonna take them a while. They're not gonna just jump into the pond and make waves. It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah, because
You know,
WWE has multiple ways they can make money. I mean, the merchandise is
they're
extensive.
global.
Yeah, global merchandise is extensive. AEW is just getting their merchandise up. They only have a few pieces of merchandise. Then WWE has the network. WWE has the games. It's just a whole bunch of
Right.
shit that go into that.
Again, I think that other wrestling promotions, big wrestling promotions, are healthy because it causes everybody to step their game up and not be comfortable putting on the same old, same old. But at the same time, you have to be fucking realistic. You can't go from not being anything to making $2 billion. That's not gonna happen overnight. I think the double or nothing is going to be a hell of a good start. I know me personally, I've already put in for my pre-sale tickets, and I want to support them. And again, I'm gonna say this: it's kind of the same thing that I was talking about with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. They doing the same shit with the promotions. So apparently, if you like WWE, you can't like AEW or vice versa.
Yeah,
Why
that's
can't people
ridiculous.
like both? What
Yeah,
the fuck is going on with folks?
I grew up liking WWE and WCW.
And WCW. I used to flip channels.
I
I'll
used
be
to
the
watch
first to tell
ECW
you that.
too.
Yeah, and you're right. And ECW. Even now, I watch WWE. I watch New Japan. I watch anything that may be indie that I'm interested in. Like I even go back and watch NWA. I don't, dude. You can like a variety of things. It's okay to like AEW and like WWE. It's okay to say I want to see this guy on AEW because he's not being utilized right. But then again, I like this guy on WWE. It's okay. You can want both. But apparently, the social media community and shit, it's not acceptable to say that. You have to pick a side. Depending on who you're talking to, you got to pick the right side. It's asinine. I don't know where this fucking shit came from, but you can like both. It's healthy to have wrestling competition. I'm sorry, if AEW adopts the principle of we're gonna put WWE out of business, they won't be in business very fucking long.
Yeah,
So I wish that I wish them all the best. I want them to succeed. I'm a fan. They got people over there that I like watching. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon by himself. Even though he's not, but shit, even fucking Hangman Page and shit. I mean, I like all of these guys. But at the same time, I still like people in WWE too. I want both to succeed so that it grows the wrestling business. So that wrestling is very credible. It's not just a monopoly like it's been for the last fucking 20 some odd years. Because if WWE has competition, they're gonna put on a better program. If AEW has competition that they're chasing, they're gonna constantly be pushing the envelope. Everybody wins. It gives talent other places to go. It's a good
yeah,
option. So I'm that's just I I'm hoping that people will realize this ain't gonna happen overnight. I know when we first started talking about this, when we first found out about AEW, remember I told you I was like, I would prefer if they didn't even go head to head with WWE on certain nights for the first maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and they build a profit and a fan base and get enough talent, and then after they've sustained themselves, then go at it. Because you're gonna need a few years to get your legs under you. You can't jump into this and expect this to take off against a company that's been doing it for several decades now, and then hell, they just $2 billion. Do you?
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing to frown on.
Yeah, you can say what you want about WWE, but $2 billion is, that's unreal. And if you think they going somewhere, you got another thing coming. It may take a while. You may be long gone or something before that happens. But I'm excited about what they're doing, and I want them to succeed. I'm hoping that this takes off. I want to go to Double or Nothing. I'm excited about the way that they are. Cody Rhodes has become almost to a degree the best promoter in wrestling because he can promote. He
Yeah,
can promote. I mean, he on to stuff that nobody else has tapped into, and streaming ticket parties and setting up a wrestling promote. Like this guy, he got a gift for promotion. So
yeah.
I'm excited. Now, let me ask you this, and I know that this may not be a popular thing to say, but how do you feel about all the executive vice presidents, and what do you feel about it? And I'll give you my take after I hear from you, but that's a point of concern for me.
As for me as well, that's the biggest concern I have because not only do you have four EVPs, but they're all talents that are performing,
Active
and
talent.
yeah, active talents that are the top names of the company. They are the face of the company. Mainly Kenny Omega. He's the biggest star out of all of them. Now, while it sounds good, they might be friends and everything, but a lot of times friendship and business doesn't mix. Everybody has an ego, whether they want to admit it or not. If you get a certain level of notoriety, you have an ego. You may want to get a certain title run. You might want your character to go a certain way, and the other three might not, you know, feel the same way. That could be cause for contention. I think eventually down the line, somebody might step down and be like, you know what? I don't even want the position no more. I'm just going to leave the company altogether.
I agree. I think at some point that's gonna come up because, like you said, everybody knows Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world today. Period. Point blank.
Yeah,
There's no other. But at the same time, somewhere along the way, Rhodes has inserted himself as one of the best in the world today, one of the best. You know, and like I asked somebody today, I say, look, here's my issue. You can't have. You need somebody who's not actively participating or wrestling in a promotion to be the voice of reason here. Tony Khan is just the money guy. But my question becomes, who the fuck is gonna book the promotion? And
yeah,
how is it going to be booked? Because remember, uh, wrestlers running wrestling promotions normally does not go good. Cody's dad, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, was booking for Jim Crockett Promotions and working hand in hand with Jim Crockett back in the 80s before Jim Crockett Promotions was bought out by WCW. You see how that turned out.
yeah,
And a lot of people complain because they said Dusty always booked himself into high spots and shit like that. He only booked his friends and this and that. This concerns me. It's too many cooks in the kitchen
yeah.
in a way. And I'm like you. I'm wondering at what point Now, maybe, just maybe, they can hold it together and say, okay, this is a business decision. This isn't personal, But there's also a chance. Hell, Skyhawk, Hulk Hogan, and Eric Bischoff and Kevin Nash were friends too in WCW at some point in time. They
They took
worked
that shit
together,
down.
but they ran that shit into the ground. You can't have an active wrestler trying to run a promotion. That's the part that's
It don't
sticking
work.
out to me. Yeah, and I'm terrified of that. And if they can't find an independent, I think they need an objective and independent person running that promotion.
Yeah.
I don't know who they could get, but they gonna have to have somebody that can say, okay, look, we need to put the title on this guy because we need to do this because. Like, this sounds great today, but when you got two guys in Cody and Kenny Omega saying, I'm the best, because I know both of them feel that way or whatnot. I mean, are you, how is that gonna work? Who
And
do you
then
put the title on?
another thing, I don't really think that, necessarily just because they're, executive vice presidents, I don't think that they'll necessarily fall on them creative wise. I think it just depends on the team they create, and that's where the contention can come in. Maybe uh one person might want somebody on the team that the other three don't want, or something like that.
Right,
They may want to bring in talent from a certain promotion or work with a certain promotion that the other ones don't want to work with. It's just stuff like that, and they still have to build a creative team because the only person I know
and
behind the scenes that they have is Billy Gunn. I don't know
okay,
anybody else
but
they have.
again, that's my thing. And what concerns me is, and this segues into my second concern. It seems like right now they're only building up to Double or Nothing. What's
Hmm.
gonna happen after May 25th?
Yeah, because
What
I
what
thought we were gonna get like a TV deal announced on this one.
Yeah, like what happens after that? Like, and do they got more people than they had the day before, but
They're
hell, you
still
still don't
building.
have enough to build a whole roster to run
Yeah,
TV on a weekly basis and put on pay. Like, I'm concerned. Are we right now? You're promoting an event, okay? But what's gonna happen when that event is over? And that's what I'm saying. Who's booking this stuff? Where is it headed? Those are the concerns that I have, because as fast as this thing lights up, it could fall just as quickly if they can't figure out a way
yeah.
to and I know it's still early and it might be a lot of things they're not telling us, but I also see some things that I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
and my biggest thing is you have active wrestlers in their prime who are at their best. That, like, even the Bucks are probably the best tag team in the world. How is that going to work when you bringing in other talent that people consider just as good? You
Yeah.
know,
And now you're on the radar. A lot of star talents are gonna try to come over there and ring your bell, try to come over there to you. I mean, we heard the the rumors about Randy Orton, Sasha Banks, and the Usos possibly trying to get over there. You know, like if the Usos come over there, how are your other tag teams gonna feel? You know?
right? Because you then at that point you, for lack of better words, got at least three top tag teams, and then you got others. That's what I'm saying. That is the part that was. I'm sitting there looking at this yesterday, and I'm saying, man, like, this is great. But you essentially have a wrestling promotion being run by wrestling
Hmm.
people, like wrestlers. You don't
Not
have,
retired neither. Not
yeah,
retired.
not retired. It's not like this is a now. If Chris Jericho started this, I'd been like, okay, fine, fuck it, because
He's done all
he's
he can
done
do.
everything. Yeah, he's doing this for. Or if it was Chris Jericho and say Jim Ross or something like. Well, these guys are legends. Their time is in the business their prime is gone. They're trying to further it at this point. But you got four guys in their prime, two of them, depending on who you ask, are in the top 10 when it comes to greatest wrestlers in the world today. And you're trying to book a promotion and make business decisions.
Right.
And
Right.
I
I would definitely feel better if they had a retired person. Like when they had the whole rumor of Jim Ross coming over there and being like part of the front office team, I was happy. I was like, okay, they got somebody seasoned that know what to do
right knows
now.
how
But
to do.
you got young, you know, active wrestlers running this. I don't know how that could work out because
Well,
on the
hell,
other side, WWE has Triple H. Triple H knows the shit, and he's been groomed for the business now for the
but
past
even
few
still,
years.
in Triple H still can't go too far when it comes to certain stuff because Vince McMahon is the buffer. He's not a
Yeah,
wrestler, so he's gonna take a business view on it and say, "Hey, this is good for business today." Although Triple H doesn't do that, but he's gonna say, if it came to it, there's somebody there to say, "Hey, business wise, this is a better decision." You know, I mean, fuck, you want to talk about a guy that ran a wrestler that ran a wrestling promotion? I forgot about this. Jeff Jarrett with TNA. Look how that turned out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when other people started getting involved, that's when it really messed up. And
You know,
then, well, yeah, and then, like you were saying, Jeff Jarrett with TNA, he made himself the top guy. He made himself the top guy, and
and I
he
love
stayed
Jeff,
champion for the
but
long.
yeah, I love Jeff Jarrett. I think he's an innovator. He started all of this,
Yeah,
but at the same time, man, that was a perfect example of what not to do. You
yeah,
know, and I think people are so desperate at this point for something else, something new, something different, and All In just kind of threw people into this frenzy that they're looking at it and saying, "Oh hell, this could work," and it very well could, and I want it to because again, it's gonna help. But you gotta ask yourself some of these questions when you're us from a creative standpoint, content creative standpoint, and a when all we do most of the time is watch and analyze wrestling. Hey, can this work? Because it's
yeah.
failed so many other times in so many other places. Does
Hmm.
it make sense? You
Yeah,
know, again, Jim Crockett Promotions in the 80s, it failed. TNA, it failed. Hell, even to a certain degree with ECW. Although Paul Heyman was no longer an active wrestler, he used to be a talent that failed. You know,
yeah,
nothing typically works when you got active talent. Jim Cornette, love him to death. He was a talent, is one of the greatest wrestling minds to ever do it. But he tried it twice, and not that it was his fault, but it wrestling talent just has a bad track record of trying to make and sustain promotions.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, Jim
It can't
Cornette's
be up to them.
situation, yeah, Jim Cornette's situation was a little bit different, but in the same token, you have to still say, hey, he was a wrestling talent that created a territory or promotion, and it didn't. OVW did well. It produced a lot of guys that we know today, the Cenas, the Orders, the Lesners, but it didn't. It wasn't able to be self-sustained.
Yeah,
It just.
he had more success with Mid South.
You mean with Smoky Mountain?
Yeah,
Because Mid
Smoky
South
Mountain.
was
What the hell am I talking
yeah,
about? Yeah, Smoky Mountain.
Mid South was Bill Watts. He did
Yeah,
have a lot more success with that, but I mean, again, his is a little bit different, but because he actually was able, he had a mind for the business. Same thing with Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett had a mind for the business, and so did Dusty Rhodes, and I'm sure Cody Rhodes, but they were active wrestlers
yeah,
they were actively wrestling in their prime. They were wrestling for real. You know, you can't do that and stuff because what guy that's wrestling in his prime is gonna not want to be the top guy? Yeah,
yeah,
it's rare that you run a promotion. You're like, oh, well, I'm gonna put this guy over because now they could do that because they seem to be different. They seem, hey, we want to be different, et cetera,
yeah.
et
Be
cetera.
champion for the fans and champion of other wrestlers. It seemed like they have that characteristic about them.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about that. I know time will only tell, but I still have some questions that weren't answered. Now I know we did get a couple matches out of it. I'm pretty sure hopefully Phoenix is healthy and stuff up to coming up to that, and you'll have the Lucha Brothers and the Bucks. I'm excited about that match if it does happen, health
Yeah,
concerns aside. Pac and Hangman Page. I'm excited about that match. What did you think about the event that ended it with? You might get Alpha Omega too, or I'm
Yeah,
excited about that.
that's what's gonna happen. I mean, it's been teased for a while, ever since after All In. Remember, he attacked him afterwards.
Yeah, and
No,
they
that
actually had a match in New Japan.
yeah, yeah, a great match, and it seemed like that was like a never ending thing. They had to do it again, even on a larger scale. They had to do it again, especially in the States. You know.
Man, Chris Jericho is really, in my mind, is moving further and further up my list of greatest of all time. The dude is remaking himself and still finding ways to be innovative and get
Yes.
it done. Like
Yes.
he
And
don't he athletically he probably can't do what he used to, and the guy's almost 50 years old, but ring psychology and character wise and persona, he just continues to remake himself and still be over. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah, a genius.
No,
He's
he
a
really is.
genius.
He really is. He
And
really is. He
I
has a
feel like
mind
if
for
they
wrestling.
yeah, I feel like they use his mind with this company. They if they listen to him on a lot of things and get his point of view on it, I think this could work out well for him. You know,
No,
because he could transition to a backstage role. You know, or they give him a position in the front office. I think this could work out well as long as they stay connected with Chris Jericho.
yeah, definitely. I don't disagree. Again, I'm excited. I plan on going. I put in for my pre-sale tickets last night while they were on. I want to see it pan out. I do. I have some concerns, but at the same time, my fingers are crossed, and I'm hoping I have another promotion
Yeah,
that I can watch. Other than New Japan or NXT or WWE Raw or SmackDown. I'd love to be able to say, well, fuck, had you watched in AEW last
yeah,
night or last week? So I'm excited for that. Again,
yeah,
just because I'm not saying, oh, they're going to put WWE out of business doesn't mean I don't want them to make it.
yeah.
I do.
Because that's gonna be hard for anybody to put them out of business.
When you get it's if you haven't learned them from WCW by now, when you get to talking about trying to put Vince McMahon out of business and that becomes your sole business purpose and goal, you're not gonna fucking make it.
Yeah, they're not gonna go out of business because simple fact, people love NXT too much. NXT is the future.
Well,
They're not
not
gonna.
just that. Like I keep telling folks, women's wrestling there right now. I don't get
It's
why
better
more.
than any other place.
It's better than anywhere else. There are great women talents and other promotions. Again, Tessa Blanchard is one of the first names I mention now when I get to talking about any woman outside of WWE. But
She's too
there
good
are.
for Impact. I was just saying
She
that.
is.
She's too
She
good for
is.
it.
She is. I mean, I want to see her go somewhere else. I'm a huge fan of hers, but at the same time, like I'm saying, you women's wrestling is and NXT, even NXT UK. I think in a year or so, maybe less than a year, you're gonna be asking which one is better, NXT UK or NXT, because they coming along too.
Yeah, true. True that, man.
Yeah, so I mean, between them three entities and stuff, and them study being able to bring in they bring in talent. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Is it a safe bet to say if WWE had assigned Kenny Omega, would we still feel the same way about AEW today?
I think it would have been a huge blow to AEW, but I think they would have recovered with one of those big signings that's been teased and rumored in the past week of them
I'm a
getting one of the top stars.
I'm gonna say this, and then I think we can get ready to close the show. The thing that's standing out to me too about this, they're signing talent, but they're not exclusive. And
Yeah,
maybe that's an indie thing. I don't know, but I was surprised. You know, the Lucha Brothers are not exclusive to AEW. They're signed, but they're also still able to work for Impact.
yeah,
WWE would never do something like that. And I'm wondering if that's because they wanted it to be more flexible, for the talent. How do you feel about that?
They want to
Because
give them more freedom.
and that's fine, and I'm good with that. I like it, but then if you gonna do something like that, why don't everybody get together and say, okay, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact. Hey, we all gonna get together. We can all interchange talent. You got a pay per view, a program going on. We'll send talent your way, and then they can come back and perform here. And you got people just going to one show and the other, putting on matches. You could, like I keep saying, I would love to see a form of the NWA started back up if you're gonna do something like this.
Yeah, it would be nice to see something like that. I think one of the things that's allowing them to keep their talent, you know, with the freedom to work for other promotions is the fact that they probably don't have a set schedule intact like WWE does. You know, WWE has a certain amount of dates for the full year. I don't even think AEW has their year planned out beyond Double or Nothing. I
You
think
know
this
what?
is,
I'm wondering if you remember how when TNA was first gonna start up, they were talking about just doing like pay-per-views or
yeah,
whatever. I'm wondering if this first 6 months to a year they do that while they work out a TV deal.
that's the way it seems. Like they're trying to prove themselves first, then going for a TV deal. Then I think that's when they're gonna really kick it into overdrive.
Well, they supposedly had over 12,000 pre-sale entries last night, or whatnot, and they crashed the fucking site.
Yeah,
I was on it
they,
when it crashed. So yeah, they crashed the site. So it's so many unanswered questions. You still ain't get all the information you wanted. And again, this is how you. This is a different way of promoting wrestling,
yeah,
so this is something we've never seen. So everybody's kind of learning as you go and trying to get news from anywhere they can. And you want to market, this is how you do it, because they just put somebody can put something out and it just carries. Supposedly AJ Styles is supposed to be leaving. Or, you just hearing all kinds of stuff. Oh, where they're looking at Brock Lesnar. They name comes up almost on a day-to-day basis. And one of the things I said on Twitter was, is it possible that Vince McMahon released that earnings report as a kind of, hey, this is still our yard, we still run this or whatnot, and right before the Double or Nothing ticket announce party to kind of deter or take some of the heat off of what they had going on? I think WWE is legitimately afraid of what it could be,
yeah,
but it's still too early to tell.
yeah. Because it could become a monster. It could become a monster, but
It could.
they know they have some time to kind of right their wrongs. But I don't know. They may be past the point of fixing it because they've done so much wrong to certain superstars, and they piss a lot of them off.
Right. Right. Now, like I say, time will tell. I think people
Yeah,
just need to they
time will
need to wrap
tell.
their mind around the fact it won't be overnight, but this is good for wrestling. It's good for the wrestling business. And hell, what's good for us right now is to get the hell out of here.
Yep.
Again, this has been an episode that isn't like the ones we've done before, but it was more of an open forum. Again, if you agree or disagree with us, let us know. You guys know you're more than welcome to talk with us at any time about what we talked about. If you enjoy the show, like and subscribe. But I mean, again, we're all about making the wrestling community, making wrestling relevant and great again. We're
Yeah.
excited for what's going on, and until the next time, this has been the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast, and we are out.